This is NHTV2, North Haven Government Television, a service of North Haven Community Television. The following program is brought to you through the support of the Town of North Haven.
Good evening and welcome to the January 29th, 2026 meeting of the North Haven Police Commission. And I'd like to ask for the approval. First, I'll introduce myself as Chairman Larry Lazaroff. To my left is Vice Chairman Bob Hannon. To my right is our Secretary, Mark Calafiore. To his right is Commissioner Alden Mead. I'd like to ask for the approval of the minutes of the December 16th, 2025 special meeting, both regular and executive session, please.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any correspondences?
None.
Okay. The Chairman's report. I'll just be very brief. Just a reminder to please obviously be very careful when driving. All the snow piled up in the streets, and we expect some more snow potentially coming up this weekend. We are a very, very busy department this past month. We'll talk briefly about the calls for service are up, the motor vehicle stops are up, and the arrests are up. So you guys are doing a great job in keeping our community safe. Reminder not to park in the streets, obviously, when there's snow coming because the plows have a difficult time. Even if it's not a parking ban, if you can, please try to park your car in the driveway. The plows, it's much easier than coming straight through versus having to weave around parked cars on the streets. And my usual reminder monthly to please lock your cars, your sheds, your homes for protection, and do our own best job by doing this ourselves as well. With that, I will turn it over to the Chief.
Thank you, Chairman. I'll start off with our budget report. As of today, which will be a little bit different than what is in your packets, but as of today, we are 57.3% expended on our overall budget. So for this time of year, I would not want to be above 61%. So we're tracking roughly 4% under where I would want to be right now, which is a good thing. Our overtime line is at 73% expended, which is not a good thing. It's pretty much the same as it was last month. We weren't really able to bring it down much, but at the same time, it didn't widen that gap. So we're keeping an eye on it. The overtime is unfortunately difficult to control because of various reasons, but it's on our radar. Deputy Chief is always looking at ways to try and reduce overtime without reducing the services that the town expects from us. We also have a new dispatcher that is in training, so we're hoping that that's going to help with some of the overtime. One dispatcher came off training last month, I had mentioned. The one that's in training now is anticipated to be on their own in about 3 weeks. That's going to bring us up to 7 full-time dispatchers. We are allotted for 8. We have an 8th that's going to start in roughly 3 weeks. So as one comes off training, we're going to have another one start training. If all goes well with number 8, that'll be the highest personnel staffing that we've had in that room. And hopefully that will then start to show the impact on our overtime line, because dispatch has been a big driver of the overtime. Are there any questions about the budget present day? Okay. The next section I'm going to go into, because it'll probably take up most of the time, will be the traffic section for tonight. I'll just start with a few statistics. For the month of December, the traffic division has conducted 28 radar details. They investigated 26 accidents and conducted 64 motor vehicle stops. We've taken delivery of 2 SUVs, and the upfit is almost complete on those. So we're hoping by the end of February that those 2 SUVs will be on the road. We also took delivery of a 3rd vehicle, and we hope that upfit will begin on that shortly. Now, the other thing that I have for traffic related is our area school zones. So as you all know, we started looking into a speed camera enforcement program. And while we were doing so, our school zones kind of stuck out to us as an area where we may want to implement these. And it came to light that our current school zones, although that they're marked as school zones through signage and in some cases lettering on the pavement, we could not find any historical information showing that they were officially made school zones by the local traffic authority. So the commission acts as the local traffic authority, and you have the right to do that and to make those school zones. You also have the right to set speed limits on municipal roads. So as you'll see in your packets, and I'll briefly go over them, is a recommendation from Sergeant DePascale. I think you all know he does a fantastic job. He's very thorough. So we're going to request tonight that each school, so there's 6 of them total, high school, middle school, and the 4 elementary schools, that we designate 5 of them as school zones tonight. I should say 5.5. I'll get into that. For Clintonville School, which is the first one I'll discuss. Clintonville sits on Sachem, but it also has a driveway on Route 22. So Sergeant DePascale is proposing that we create a school zone on Sachem at the referenced lat and longitude that he provided you. He's also requesting that this board allow him to petition the state DOT to have the speed limit on Route 22 in a 0.2 mile area in front of Clintonville School be lowered to 30 miles per hour instead of the current 40 miles per hour. If the state agrees and lowers it to 30 miles per hour, our intention is to then ask this board to create that span of 30 on Route 22 as a school zone. So for tonight, the request for Clintonville School will be Sachem at the reference lat and longitude in a 25 mile per hour zone. Right now, there's no mileage on Sachem. His request is 25 miles per hour on Sachem. And then to petition the state to make Route 22's portion in front of the school a 30. And if that's done, then we'll come back in a future meeting and request that be a school zone also. That's for Clintonville. I'll run through them all, and then I would ask for a motion at that point. The next school would be Ridge Road. Sergeant DePascale's recommendation, again, would be on Ridge Road at the reference lat and longitude, that officially be designated a school zone area, and on Hartford Turnpike at the reference lat and longitude, that officially be referenced as a school zone by the board.
Is the speed limit also 25 in that area?
The speed limit in front of Ridge
It's 2.
is,
2 different ones.
it depends if you're on Hartford Turnpike or on Ridge. It
Ridge
should be
Road
different.
recommended 25 mile an hour school zone posting with the sign locations, and the Hartford Turnpike side recommended 35 zone.
And those are already set.
Yeah.
And he's comfortable with those as they are. We just need to formally make it a school
I
zone.
guess my question is, do all the schools have 25 like we're looking to do at Clintonville, roughly?
Well, Clintonville will be a 30 at
They're not all
22. Yeah, they vary.
Okay.
Yeah. For Green Acres Elementary School, the proposal would be to designate an official school zone at the reference lat and longitude on Upper State Street. For Monowese School, this is another one where Sergeant DePascale has 2 suggestions. So it would be the referenced lat and longitude on Fitch Street. And there also should be Rock Road, I believe.
Yes.
And it would be the reference lat and longitude on Rock Road as well. So Fitch Street and Rock Road for Monowese School. We're also requesting for North Haven Middle School, located at 55 Bailey Road, that be officially designated a school zone in the area of Bailey Road at the following locations, which would be also, it's a 30 mile per hour speed limit zone in that area. And lastly would be for North Haven High School. He is formally requesting that the board approve a school zone at North Haven High School for the referenced lat and longitude on Elm Street. So that would cover our high school, middle school, and the 4 elementary schools to all have officially designated school zones. They're essentially all there already.
Right.
This is just to memorialize it on paper by the local traffic authority, with the exception of Clintonville School, which I already kind of mentioned. So if this commission agrees with that brief summary and what you've seen in your packets, I would ask that a motion be made to accept Sergeant DePascale's recommendations as is.
It seems quite common sense that these motions be made. There's school zones that should be recognized as such, protection of the students as well as the crossing guards as well. So-
Correct, and we don't feel that Clintonville, because this board could make Clintonville on 22 a school zone, but as a 40-mile-per-hour zone, we don't think that that's appropriate. It just does, I've never seen a school zone at a 40-mile-per-hour. It's too fast. So we want to get that reduced and then make it a school zone after that.
Any discussion, gentlemen? Okay. I'd like to make a motion that we designate the 5.5 school zones to memorialize this on paper for the town and for the department. Do I have a second? Second? Okay, all in favor?
No.
Aye.
That's the
Aye.
summary.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right. For our Uniform Services Division, the end of the year, we had a total of 31,482 calls for service. This is the highest year on record. This came up last meeting. It was a great question. It doesn't necessarily reflect a bad thing, but it does show that people are calling us more than they ever have. It could just be that we're making people more aware if you see something suspicious to call us and they're taking heed to that. But it is the highest year we've had on record for calls for service. It's 2,000 calls higher than 2024, and it's about 4,000 calls higher than what we saw in 2023. For the month of December, we had 2,900 calls for service compared to 2,200 in 2024 and 2,200 in 2023. So month to month over the 3-year period, we were up about 700 calls for service. The total written reports for the 2025 calendar year was 4,368 compared to 4,400 the year before and 4,300 the year before that. So roughly about even on that as far as written reports. For motor vehicle stops in the month of December, 342 stops compared to 138 in 2024 and 96 in 2023. So our stops are up, and our motor vehicle enforcement has also been increased. So for the month of December, we had 1,831 citations compared to 1,156 in 2024 and then 636 in 2023. So stops are up, tickets are up, and our car accidents are down.
I think some of it has to be attributed also to we have increased personnel and more patrolmen. The budget is
Yes.
improved, we have more people,
Mhm.
protect the
We're able to do more. When we have more
Exactly.
people, we're able to do more without having to pull resources from other tasks. Because when we run radar, when we do on escort, when we have to stand by to help someone, domestic violence doesn't stop, burglaries don't stop, calls still come in. So the more people we have, the more we can do without pulling from our other tasks. Total arrests for the month of December was 79 compared to 35 in 2024 and 33 in December of 23. Vehicle burglaries for the calendar year of 2025, we had 87 compared to 142 in 2024 and 284 in 2023. So our vehicle burglaries were down significantly. Unfortunately, our vehicle theft was up. We had 85 stolen cars in 2025. That's compared to 68 in 2024 and 71 in 2023. So overall, when we look at 2025, when we didn't do all Part 1 crimes because, knock on wood, we don't have shootings and homicides on a daily basis. So we're not going to get into things such as murder and arson. But for what we experience most, on our car accidents, we were down almost 5% in response to motor vehicle accidents. Our vehicle burglaries were down 38%. Our vehicle theft is up 20%. Our larceny of all types is up 8%. And our total call for service was up 7.5%.
When For vehicle thefts, are most of these cars, or many of these cars left unlocked still, or
Yes.
that seems to be common?
Yeah.
As far as running?
For the vehicle burglaries and the vehicle thefts, we see that most of them are unlocked vehicles with a key in them. And you know, for those who don't know, it's pretty self-explanatory. But when you hear vehicle burglary, that's when someone breaks into your car, whether it's opened or not. But that's rummaging through your car, taking valuables. Vehicle theft is when you wake up and your car's not there. So that's where we're up on vehicle theft, but we're down significantly on the vehicle burglaries. For our investigative services division, 7 stolen cars in the month of December, 5 of which were recovered, and detectives obviously processed those vehicles for leads and try and work backward to identify any suspects. For the month that is up compared to November, we had 5 stolen cars, and in December we had 7. No commercial burglaries were reported in the month of December, although we did have 1 residential burglary, as well as 1 report of sexual assault and or contact. A few notable cases in the detective division. We had a operation that we worked on with the FBI in early December. The guys in our detective bureau really did a great job working with the New Haven FBI and the Albany field office FBI, where they targeted individuals that are attempting to entice minors into sex acts. And not going to get too into the details of it in your packet. There is a lot of detail. Between us and the FBI, we had over 30 people involved in this operation. Involved, you know, arrest teams and surveillance teams and FBI analysts, and they really pulled together and were able to arrest 3 individuals that were looking to commit a sex crime against a minor that night. And you know, 3 may not sound like a big number, but when that's your daughter or your son that would have been one of the victims, it's a really big thing, and we're really proud of doing this. And we got a lot of feedback from the FBI on it, as well as people in town, and we're hoping to do it again. But overall, it was a great job. Lieutenant Falcon does great work in the detective unit, and that was an all hands on deck thing. It wasn't just Matt. The entire detective bureau was involved in that, and they really did a phenomenal job on that. They also secured an arrest warrant for a identity theft and fraud incident where a victim was defrauded of over $500,000. They have not served that arrest warrant yet. Our suspect is out of state, so we're working with the court as far as getting extradition on that, and then to work with that other state's jurisdiction to go and apprehend him and then work on getting him extradited back from that state. So they're working on that, but significant dollar amount. I think for someone to be defrauded of over $500,000, we're willing to make a out-of-state road trip to bring that person to justice. So that's being worked on. We also had a separate arrest involving an individual that committed risk of injury to a minor. It was a sex crime involving an adult and a minor. An arrest was made on that. We also had our detectives make 2 arrests for a gas station robbery. One was an individual from East Haven. The other individual was a North Haven resident. Both were taken into custody and arrested for their roles in that crime. And they also investigated and arrested a juvenile suspect who desecrated the menorah on the town green. They acted very swiftly on that. A lot of people wanted to know a lot about it. We really can't get into naming juveniles. It's just, we can't do that. You know, there's certain protections for victims of crimes and juveniles. So we can't get into that. As much as people have interest in it, we're not going to release their name. But the detectives acted quickly, and he was charged with intimidation based on bias and bigotry and criminal mischief in the 3rd degree. We get a lot of calls. People tell us that, you know, we needed to arrest him for a hate crime. There's no actual charge of hate crime. You get arrested for crimes like bias and bigotry And that creates an avenue for the prosecution to look at it as a hate crime. And if they deem that it was hate motivated, then they can enhance the penalties on the accused. So there's no actual charge of hate crime. We charge them with what we charge them with, but we understand and agree with people's feeling that it was likely motivated by hate. And as long as the prosecution believes that and can prove that, then they can enhance the penalty against the person. So just kind of wanted to clear that portion up. As far as our personnel update, in February, we're going to be interviewing candidates for a entry-level recruit position that we need to fill. We also hope to make promotions next month. We can discuss that more in executive session tonight, but that's our plan, that next month we can promote from the rank of captain on down. And I have one Benary Scholarship request from Officer Richard De Palma for 3 courses that he took.
You want the motion now for that?
I think, unless you want to discuss it in executive, but otherwise I say we do a motion now.
Give it. I'll make the motion that we grant that.
I'll second it.
How much money is that?
That would be for $750.
All right.
It's 3 classes, so $250 per class.
All right. Motion stands, sure.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the remaining items that I have would be for executive session.
Very good. Any further questions?
No, all good.
I'll make a motion we adjourn to discuss personnel in executive session.
So move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're back in session after having a discussion of personnel and executive session. The first motion I'd like to make is to renew Ted Stockman as a supernumerary for another term. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I'll second that. I'll discuss that too for 2 seconds.
Sure.
I think he's an outstanding SRO, and it's a credit to this department, to this town, that Teddy Stockman has been an SRO as long as he has, and he's been an outstanding police officer here for many, many years. So second that with full confidence and vigor.
Just to clarify, it's going to be supernumerary. Okay.
Correct.
Perfect, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next, big happenings now in the department, promotions. I'm gonna let
Yes.
Chairman Hannon discuss the selection of the captain.
Yeah, so I'd like to propose the position for captain to Chris Bose.
And I'll second that.
Yep.
Any
Yeah.
discussion or?
All these candidates on these lists that we have, tough choices, but these are just goes to prove the integrity and quality of our department here is really good. So,
Okay. I'll say, any discussion?
second.
I second it, yeah.
Second, okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The next promotion will be for lieutenant. I'd like to propose a nomination of Nick Costanza as lieutenant, another great officer. And as Bob said, that we're very fortunate that our department is very, very deep, and they're all great candidates. But I'll make a motion, we have Nick Costanza as lieutenant. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And lastly, Mark?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to promote Officer Marcus Artiz from position of police officer to sergeant.
I'll second that as well. Another great candidate. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any further business? Any comments from chief or deputy?
We're looking forward to getting these promotions next month and getting people to work, so thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody.
Congratulations to
Congratulations to all. I make a motion for adjournment.
So
So move.
All in favor? Aye. Adjourned.
The preceding program is brought to you in part through a grant from the town of North Haven. Watch town meetings or other videos on demand at nhtv.com.